This is Jerry Tenney. I'm a high school government teacher, and I'm going to ask you some questions or let you speak about your experience with the Occupy movement. Just generally start out with, how did you become involved?
Well, first of all, hello, government students. I started about a little over 2 months ago. I've been retired for 2 years, living a very comfortable life in El Salvador, a little beach called El Cuco. It hasn't been commercialized yet, like the other beaches. I have a small cabana. The beach is about 100 yards from my house. I can walk there very easily. And the weather there is around 80-some degrees. And I voted two years ago for Obama for president, thinking that the country was in good hands. Went down, relaxing, not even watching TV. And about 3 months ago, my daughter called me because she lives in Virginia, so does my son, so I came here for the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas. I got here a little before Thanksgiving, and we came here to Freedom Plaza. And I looked at it, and there were back then about 135 tents. Now there's about 60. We're getting ready for the winter. And I made a comment to my daughter, who's 26 years old, and I said, "My gosh, Stephanie, you know, the homeless situation has gotten really bad." And she started laughing, saying, "No, Dad, these are Occupy Washington, D.C." And I said, "What the heck is that?" So she educated me, and I stayed with a person I met. His name is Knoxville, from Knoxville, Tennessee, obviously. Or he's in Knoxville, Kentucky. There's my geography.
Tennessee.
And he let me stay in his tent for 4 days while he was up in New York, Zuccotti Park, that was shut down recently. And I'm still here. They gave me my own little tent. I put the name Stiff on there. I have my own computer company. It was never the greedy type. I had some of my best employees making more money than the owner of the company, because that I could bill, you know, to the government. And I did do a lot of travel around the world, and really had a very nice life and everything. And finally, I decided to retire. So when I saw, you know, the 99%, you know, I like to categorize myself as 99%, not the 1%. I realized, you know, a lot of other countries have health care for all people. Why cannot the richest country in the world? Why can we not have jobs here, and why do we have to outsource it to other countries? Why can we not have decent education? In Virginia, for example, the lottery, the state lottery, was supposed to be for education only. Right now in the coffer, they have an IOU, $3 billion. Now what does that mean? It means that they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So I voted for Tim Kaine about 8 years ago. I was Republican, voted for Tim Kaine, and I've been pretty much a Democrat ever since. We are polluting our resources. Water is going to be the next oil. T. Boone Pickens in Texas is buying water rights because he knows that he has control, especially after the drought in Texas this year. We need to start taxing Wall Street transactions like other countries do. Some countries charge 1%, 2%, 3% for every transaction. We don't charge anything. So that gives them really no incentive but to use our money for speculation.
You're familiar with the Robin Hood tax?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Robin Hood tax, yes. And you know, even if we were only to, let's say, tax them 0.5%, that would be about $200 to $300 billion a year, cash money coming into our, you know, country. 1%, obviously twice that, and that would take care of our $1 trillion debt in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Big corporations, lobbyists. The American vote really doesn't mean anything anymore. If we could just do one vote for $1, that'd be perfect, instead of these companies that put in millions and millions of dollars for their special interests to get these senators, congressmen elected to do what they want them to do. The number one priority of an elected official, even before the paint is dry on his door, is to get reelected. We need to have term limits. We need to have clean air, clean water. the 99% is not just corporate greed anymore. It's expanded into, you know, just about every country in the world has some type of occupation. Some last, some don't.
Now the media says we don't understand the Occupy movement. They don't make any specific demands. What do you say to the people that dismiss this movement because they say, well, it's not intelligible. We can't comprehend it.
Well, actually, they're saying that because those are the 1% corporations, the newspapers. If you want to read what's really going on, go on Facebook, on Twitter. Don't read the Washington Post.
Right.
Don't read the Wall Street Journal. Those are owned by large corporations, and they're going to slant it. They're going to slant the truth like they always do. Why are we fighting wars around the world which we really have no business being in? Why do we have 800 military bases around the world? Why can't we bring our troops back here? The Kuwait invasion was only for one reason, a three-letter word, oil. That was the only reason why the United States was in there. Oil companies manipulate the price of oil. We should have had back in the 70s when we had the odd even days. Kids probably weren't even born then. But you could only drive your car on an odd day if your license plate ended with an odd number. Even obviously, even number. So we were alternating cars back and forth. Gasoline was 36.9 back then in the 70s.
Yeah.
Then we had gasoline lines. Back then we were talking about gasohol, corn, ethanol. Why did we not learn? What happened? We got complacent again. They brought the price of oil down. Everyone started buying big cars again. The Hummer came around. The Cadillac Escalade, the big SUVs. We had the technology back then to have cars that got 40, 50, 60 miles to the gallon, which we have now, and we can actually get more now. But the big oil companies don't want that. This tar sands, oil pipeline, is bringing crud out of dirty sand down the United States. It's the filthiest and most difficult and most expensive way to get oil out of sand, and it's very, very costly.
A lot of the people here are young people. What do you see in them in terms of what they're looking for in the Occupy movement? Or is this a cross-generational thing, or do they have just convergent views at the time, but you think they'll diverge in the future?
Well, we have two parks here. One is McPherson Park, which is pretty much the younger generation. Here, Freedom Plaza is more of an older generation, although we do have some young kids here. The one in McPherson Park does have some issues with youth fighting, gang fighting, drug use. They get arrested a lot. They don't pay attention to what the Park Service does. Here at Freedom Plaza, if the Park Service is having, let's say, some Avon walk for breast cancer, or some 3K mile for, let's say, housing, Habitat for Humanity, they will tell us to move all the tents from that side, and we do, like the Indians. Okay, clear it up, clean it, and then when the run is over, or the walk is over, then we move everything back. Now, the young kids realize that it's my generation, the 40, 50, 60 plus, that caused the $17 trillion deficit. Because we allowed and elected our officials and did not really follow up on what we were supposed to do. We let, in fact, I think you know that we lost $40 billion in Iraq.
Yeah.
Cash.
Lost it.
Lost
Yeah.
it. I mean, two transport planes landed, crates and crates of cash money disappeared. $40 billion, two of them. Each plane had $20 billion in each cash. It all disappeared. Why are we sending money to Somalia if we have to borrow it from China? A lot of corporations are investing in other companies overseas because they get better interest rates. Now, people are always complaining, like Somalia, okay? Why send money overseas? Use it here. the fact of the matter is less than 1% of our gross national product is sent overseas as far as humanitarian aid. So that's really just a drop in the bucket. I just use Somalia as an example because we're borrowing money to pay to Somalia. And, you know, tax everyone a fair share of tax. You know, so the young kids are realizing that, good Lord, you know, in 25 years we may have a $50 trillion deficit. That I wish the younger kids would come out here to Washington, D.C. every weekend, 100,000 strong, circle the White House, circle Capitol Hill, then go back home on Saturday, come back Sunday, and do that for a couple of weeks, and then you will see that the congressman will hear. Because never in my lifetime did I ever think that a black person would be elected president. I figured a woman president first. But Obama, with his charisma, his knowledge of the internet, his speech, his message to the young kids, I voted for him. And you know, unfortunately, he's being held hostage by Congress, and they could never seem to get anything done.
Well, now, I teach seniors in high school in my government class, and this June they're going into college, they're going into technical schools, they're going into the Army, they're going into the workplace. What bit of advice, what's something they should be looking for as citizens? What should they be doing?
Well, you may not like the answer, but my answer is don't get a job, start your own company. That's the best advice, because the way these companies are treating their employees now, you know, reducing hours, reducing salaries, reducing benefits. A couple friends of mine have lost their homes to foreclosure because when they reach a certain age within the company, they let them go and hire a kid right out of high school. But if you do want to get a job, get into some career that you feel that you really enjoy. Because this way, if you really like what you're doing, you won't have to work for a living. You'll get up, you know, very, very happy. You won't have stress at home. You won't have stress at work. But then, at the workplace, you have people that want to take over your position. You know, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, if kids know what that means. But my advice is for these kids going into college, start thinking about what is your hot button as far as what really turns you on, what do you like to do, and what are you good at. And then form a career from that and get a college degree based on what you really like. Of course, you have to take electives, obviously, but formulate a plan. 4 years is plenty of time to come up with a plan, and then take it to let's say the Small Business Administration of your state or the federal government, and they will help you start your own business.
Well, Steve, I want to thank you for your time and your thoughts, and I wish you the best. Take care.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Jerry.